Hello, I am Joe Cobb Gaming, and today I aim to answer a question that someone probably asked at one point during a 9-year prison sentence. The question is, if you can beat Fallout New Vegas as the main game early cannon fodder with a name, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as Joe Cobb? I began in the Infinite Purgatory and changed from a white man named Joe Cobb into Joe Cobb's primordial cousin from the Ice Age. I made my special stats all strength to show the resilience of the Cobb family, and because I had to change them later in the console. To be as accurate to the main man himself, I picked the tags melee weapons, explosives, and guns, two of which I can't use because I am stuck with Joe Cobb's 357 revolver. I was going to give Joe some traits, but to make the suffering as true to life as possible, I skipped out on them. The crit chance from Built to Destroy would have made my life later on much easier. After taking 11 years to figure out the console commands, these are my special stats. Honestly, not bad. After I sold my garbage to Chet for ammo, I finessed the revolver behind Trudy's bar and shot the bottles to make the bitch happy. I met myself, threatening the barwoman about a man named Ringo. I followed in my footsteps and asked myself what I must do. I told myself to kill the scumfuck towering in the gas station. I sent Ringo to hell with the rest of the Beatles with my righteous revolver. In this world, however, there can only be one corn on the Joe. Plus, I needed my shirt. After acquiring the drip, I angered my fellow powder gangsters, so I had to put them down like the animals that they are. I proceeded to blast Easy Pete's head off, then I sat there on my first throne and realized that being Mayor Cobb wouldn't be enough, and that I needed more power. I went on my way towards Prim, and sat with my fellow powder garbanzos. This was when I first met the imperialist troopers who vore all the land in their path. Being a powder gangster myself, I filled them with lead. I somehow missed 3 fucking headshots at point blank range on a convict, and entered the Bison Steve to visit a special tool I'll need later. I killed the rest of the homeless population of Prim and took advantage of an officer of the law in bondage and gave him a good old-fashioned death. I got sweet headshots redeeming my gamer skills and traded for some more 357 ammo, and somehow convinced Major Knight to repair my powder ganger uniform. Took a quest to blast some ants, and got a sweet trick shot on a star-capped Joe. Had no trouble until I remembered that I'm wearing the wrong color shirt on Martin Luther King Boulevard and caused a turf war with an NCR Ranger. Traded for some stimmies and heat with the sauce bro Briscoe. Couldn't resist killing that metallic cowboy fuck. Did what had to be done. Did oddly well against the Securitron gatekeepers. Thanks to a stealth boy, I got my 6-shooter in and popped Benny, who was none the wiser. Because my stealth boy was still active, and I was siding with Yes Man, I figured I'd kill Mortimer and Marjorie without much incident. As is yet tradition to come, I blasted that technocratic fuck into the last century and stuffed Benny's blood-soaked suit into his chest to send a message. I got to the fort safe and sound, and entered the bunker and ran past everything while chugging an atomic cocktail. Since the NCR will shoot me on sight with my uniform, I figure instead of going to the quartermaster at Hoover Dam for a bunch of ammo, I'll go to the Great Khans for a shitload of Fallout 3 style merchant ammo. I realized I couldn't because my rep with them was too low. However, I didn't know how, but the impossible happened. Despite Mr. House and Benny both being in the ground and me entering the strip already, Victor somehow followed me to the Great Khan's longhouse, which should be impossible because he should be deactivated.
Soon Caesar will send in his best troops from the Arizona campaign. The NCR won't know what hit them.
Sorry, Rambler. Don't you dawdle, little doggy. Mr. House isn't someone you want to...
I did the basic con quests that are really boring to get Papa Khan to break his hard Legion boner. With that nonsense over, I could finally buy a boatload of 357 ammo of all types. The footage got corrupted, unfortunately, but I eventually used that high lockpick skill I was trying to get and got lucky. Not lucky, haha, get it? The gun. And despite 400 rounds to my name and being more than enough for a while, I decided that a terrorist level onslaught on the Crimson Caravan for their weapons to sell was a good idea. I killed a lot of people in this run, which led to a surprise later. Because my rep with the NCR tanked after killing about everyone in the Crimson Caravan, I had good old Mick repair my armor. Next, I found a really useful tip in the future. The combat armor and weapons the boomers have in their lockers sold for a pretty penny and were very easy to steal. I bought some ammo and made it to the Brotherhood bunker, but I forgot that they locked the door, so in my infinite wisdom, I fought them. Those bucketheads never stood a chance against Lucky, apparently, as I took them down, then left with their armor to sell, of course. I shot the receptionist for some reason at the Gamora. I'm really not sure why I did that. I met with Yes Man and told him I did everything he could ever want because, of course, I'm Joe Cobb, and I am very knowledgeable on the Mojave power structure because I'm, well, Joe Cobb. I let President Kimball die because I have plans for the NCR after CEO Joe Cobb takes over Vegas. I spent the next half an hour getting stim packs and ammo and waiting for the cons and docks to restock. And honestly, if you know what you're doing in New Vegas, money is pretty easy to come by. I took out the safari losers at the substation with their stupid pith helmets while they were sleeping on their stupid beds. Finally, at the dam, I just killed, well, everyone with my 9 trillion rounds, and Lucky is pretty OP. 2-shotting to 4-shotting a lot of people on easy difficulty. And, oh god, the Legate, though. I fought his entire army as Joe Cobb, without speech. The stupid snipers kicked my ass, but I used VATS to tank any incoming damage from the melee attackers while I put lead into the sniper's belly. I was doing pretty well against the Legate and his bodyguards by, oddly enough, simply walking backwards. Well, sometimes. Well, I'll let you see how the Legate died.
Die, Cobb. What?
Yep, the coward apparently, Joe Cobb, blew up the Legate's grenade. Oddly enough, if you really look closely, there's 2 explosions, and one of them sounds like a fart reverb if you really listen hard enough. Well, Oliver went fine as long as I didn't lose my head, but that's nothing drugs couldn't handle. He must have lost his mind trying to face me. I talked to Yes Man and somehow broke the credits of the ending, finally ending the run and beating Fallout New Vegas as Cobb on the Joe. However, despite stealing and killing innocents, I went into the Ultralux, which I forgot to mention because the footage corrupted, as it does because it's Fallout New Vegas, and I got high karma. I ended the game as Joe Cobb with high karma, which I have no clue how that was even possible. However, leave any run suggestions you have in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.